Hi, I'm Caroline Weilert, Vice President of Marketing at ValleyCrest Landscape Companies. I'm sitting with Don Jacobs. He's the President at JZMK Partners, and we're going to talk about the future of planned communities. Thank you so much for sitting down with me.
My pleasure.
Great, let's go ahead and start with the questions.
Okay.
The first one is, if you agree that the issue is what we build versus where we build, how can we shift future development into more cohesively designed communities and neighborhoods?
My reaction is to look at the success that we've had with some of the master plan communities. I don't think we have to go very far out of Southern California to see a number of successful ones. And I'll just pick one, Woodbury in Irvine. It's Ladera Ranch. Communities that have open space within parks, within walking distance of a few blocks, a lot of getting cars off the street, getting proper landscaping that gives a cohesiveness to the whole community. Take Ladera Ranch, for example, as a large master plan community. I think the fact that adults can walk their children to school every day is incredible. That was a huge thing to get accomplished. But in talking to people who do that, they love it. And they get to see their kids, then they're off to go on with their day. Things like that, I think, are what make a community. Again, I think the short answer is we have some successful ones, and they're right here. All we need to do is look at them and decide what works, what doesn't, and work that into the new ones that we design.
Terrific, thank you. All right, let's talk about the entitlement process. What do you think is the most challenging part of the process, and where can we start to make it better?
I think we have to start politically at the top. It has to start with the people who have the power, and it isn't the staff. They are just being directed to do what either the rules are giving them or the politicians are telling them that they have to do. So we've got to start with the politics at the top and influence them so that they can then direct the directors of planning to then tell their staff this is the way it should be. A lot of things are going in the right direction. I mean, they seem to understand new urbanist planning, which I think is going through some transformations. I think they're positive. We learned a lot, but they sometimes take things too literally, and there's not enough flexibility. Again, it has to start from the top. We ran into an interesting situation yesterday when we were talking about the Tejon Ranch, in that they're trying to get a LEED certification. Well, there is no LEED certification you can get for a large master plan that is outside of an urban area. Well, why can't they create one? So that's one thing that needs to be done. But again, and I think let me back up. I think ULI is a great vehicle for helping that. Now, I understand ULI does not take political positions and such as that, but this is policy planning we're talking about, and that's what we talk about here at ULI. So I think ULI could be a great asset, even if they didn't do it themselves, but to create groups of people that could talk to the politicians to make it happen.
Okay, one more question. And it's, do you believe it's possible to plan community, and what's essential for creating community in the next decade?
Absolutely. I think we are at a exciting point in our history because no one has quite figured it out. I think a number of years ago, as an example, it was not too difficult to figure out if you're going to do a master plan community, you've got to do it for the move-up buyer because that's who's going to live there. Now we have the boomers, we have the millennials, and no one's quite sure. They think they know what these people are going to want, but I think it's possible to design for both within the same community. No, they don't have to be beside, a house for one be next to a house for another. But I think they could coexist well in a community, and I think the future for master plan communities is very good. I think they're going to be smaller than what we've seen in the past. They're not going to be as many of the Ladera Ranch and such as that. There just isn't the land for it. But I think the smaller ones have a bright future, and I think we certainly have the skill to make it happen. We have the planners and the architects and the developers that are there to make it happen.
Terrific.
And again, we have so many examples to look at that we can say, okay, well, that works, this doesn't. All kinds of product types. We're developing new product types as well, which is very exciting, particularly for the millennials.
Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time
Sure.
to sit
I
down
enjoyed
with me.
Okay.
All right.